Hi, everyone. My name is Brittany Branch, and my company is called Figs and Radishes. I am a nutrition coach, and I am based out of Houston, Texas. I am with Miss Ward, who is also a RN, if I'm not mistaken, and a health professional. Will you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Thank you so much for having me, Brittany. It's so good to be with you. I am Chelsie Ward, and yes, I am a RN. I've kind of turned holistic nurse and functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. It's a mouthful, but it just means that I really help people look for healing opportunities in the body so they can really get to the root of what's going on and heal their bodies naturally. And I focus on digestive issues and helping women really balance their hormones naturally. So it's kind of that combination. I created the Go With Your Gut method, which I can tell you a little bit more about as we kind of dive into that a little bit deeper.
Yeah. And so let's go ahead and hit on that right now, because I want to ask how you got into this field. How did getting into the field of holistic medicine or just wellness come to you, either professionally or personally?
It really started with my personal journey. I grew up in a Southern family. We loved our Southern foods, our Southern life. And I think that I was born with colic. My mom loved her strawberry sundaes, and I was born, colicky, already had digestive issues coming out of the womb. And then my next diagnosis was hypoglycemia, which was a blood sugar imbalance. And you know a lot about that, Brittany, and seeing that you specialize in that. And, I just had constipation and those issues growing up. By the time I was 12 years old, I was put on birth control. So I had the digestive issues and the hormone imbalances, and I just wasn't really sure how to fix those. The older I got, my thyroid started failing, more hormone issues. I was diagnosed with IBS. By the time I was 27, I was in perimenopause. Now, I had already went to study to become a nurse, and I was practicing as a nurse, and I was looking at my patients, and I was like, oh my gosh, we are going through the exact same thing. I started going into nursing because I wanted to learn about health, probably more for myself, but so I could truly help other people too. And I just realized that the things that we were doing on a daily basis were not giving us the results we were looking for. So I started looking outside of traditional medicine and started studying from more of a holistic approach. So long story short, I ended up healing my body naturally. I wrote a book called Healed His Way, which it's everything that we need to heal our bodies naturally. I kind of just packed it full of all the gems that I learned over the years so that people could pick up the book and just start to implement the tools that I was using for myself. The book has helped thousands of other people heal. And now I've created the Go With Your Gut health program so that I can work individually with people who want to dive in deeper and do functional lab testing or just want that step-by-step plan so that they can get the same results in their life.
I love that. When you said that you kind of went into nursing to learn more, probably more for yourself. I think the same thing when I went to school to be a nutrition health coach is that I went into it really personally. I was at a point where I finally accepted that I had gained some weight and finally said, you know what, it's probably time for me to get rid of this. But I wanted to know how to do it naturally. As many people know, our world is centered around this body image, and people are always trying to do these fad diets. And I didn't want to get stuck on a fast diet. I didn't have the money, nor if I had it, I wanted to spend it on weight loss surgery. And so I'm just like, how can I learn how to lose weight naturally so that I can learn to keep it off? And so that was really my mindset when I went researching for nutrition and just education. It was also funny to me, and I always laugh at myself about this because I'm like, I'm a chef. How do I not know how to cook healthy? But, nutrition is just like an educational course. It wasn't a cooking course that we took in culinary school. For those of you who don't know, my first education, I started off as a culinary student. And so I had did that for 13 years. And then a few years back, I ended up going to get my nutrition health coach certification. So I think that it's funny that me and you kind of, ended up in these fields, just personal things, kind of driving that passion and intuition. My next question to you is, can you explain to us some of the services or further explain to us some of the services that you provide to your clients?
Yeah. So I work with people who really feel like they've tried everything. They've been on medications, maybe they've had surgery. Sometimes their doctors are like, well, I don't really know what else we can do for you. You're on the blood pressure medication, or you're on the hormones, or you're on the things for constipation. Your cholesterol's high, so maybe they're putting on a statin. And to those people, I really offer a foundational support for them. Okay. And my programs have 3 different layers, and it really just depends on where someone is in their health and how far they want to go. So Go With Your Gut Jumpstart is like really building a good, solid foundation. A lot of clients may get off medications. It's not necessarily the goal, but sometimes when we bring the body into balance, it's actually going to give us everything that we need, right? The cholesterol is going to come into balance. People are going to naturally lose weight, and the blood pressure is going to come into balance. Hormones are naturally going to start to balance. So I also have Go With Your Gut kind of has 2 different meanings. And that means I believe that really digestion is the center of it all. So when we digest our food appropriately, when we heal our digestive system, then the body can really use food the way it's supposed to, and that's to give us life. And it comes down to nutrition and eating the right foods, yes, but also learning how to digest that food from a physical standpoint. And Go With Your Gut also kind of means trusting your intuition. So that's another thing that I teach my clients as well, is to trust their intuition and learn how to tune into their body so that they can give it what it needs at any given time, so the body actually performs the way that we want it to.
Right.
The middle layer of my program is really focused on gut healing. It's for people who have chronic digestive issues. Maybe they have a diagnosis, IBS or Crohn's disease or diverticulitis or something like that. We're really working to heal the infection. We do stool testing. We do blood work to look for, just check the immune system. We look at the detox pathways. And then I guess I call it my VIP, which is my total transformation program, is for people who really want to take their health to the next level to optimize. Maybe you're in your 40s like I am, and you want to feel like you're in your 20s. And, you really want to feel like the vibrancy of health, and you want to just take your health to the next level. Or you have an autoimmune condition and you really want to work to put that into remission. That's another thing that we can use this top tier program for. But we're really investigating the hormone health, diving into a lot of different things to help you balance your hormones naturally and help the body run optimally. And I've really added on additional like advanced tests there, looking at the DNA, because, a lot of times we might feel stuck in our health. And if we look at our DNA, it's going to tell us some of the things that are missing that we may need to support a little bit more in the body so that we can actually get the results that we're looking for. So, and I give a really comprehensive report on that. I know DNA testing can have a bad name just simply because you get all those numbers and you're like, what do I do with this data? Right. But I really provide my clients with a really comprehensive report so that it's actionable steps that they can take in their lifestyle, maybe supplements, maybe improving their sleep, just different things like that, so that they can feel their best.
I love that. We offer a DNA test too with my company, and I absolutely love it too. And I do it just for those reasons too, so that we could know individually what your body needs, because what works for you and what you need may not be, what works for me and what I need, because we're 2 different people. And so I really think that that's how, or I hope that we just continue to look at each nutritional case individualized, like, again, I mentioned earlier about fad diets is kind of like a one fit all, but that's not true. We all have different environments, been exposed to different toxins. We just come from just a different lifestyle. So I love offering the DNA test. And since you mentioned that you do work with a lot of your clients on the gut health, can you tell me a little bit your perspective, or how you talk to your clients about stress and fatigue when it comes to gut health?
Yeah. So I like to look at the body as a whole. And I think that's where we miss it so many times, is we look at the body, and in traditional medicine, there's generalist, and then we have all these specialty areas. And I really think that it's amazing. It has there's an amazing part of that, because yes, you get people that are super, super specialized, right. But I think sometimes we can miss the holistic view. My vision is that functional medicine and health coaching and traditional medicine will all come together one day and just create this beautiful program together, because I feel like that's what's needed. But when it comes to really balancing the body as a whole, I feel like, if we focus on the right mindset, if we focus on the right nutrition, if we focus on digestion, and instead of just like plugging holes like we normally do, just putting out fires, putting out symptoms, we really learn like a basic overview of the body and really focus on the things that resonate with us. I think where we can mess up is we feel like we have to do all the things to get healthy. And it's like, I can hand you a menu and you're like, oh no, I have to do all those things. I have to pick everything. And I think that once we have that systematic process in place and we really say, okay, nutrition is a main area of focus. Now let's really figure out what works right for your body. We can do that through food elimination diets. We can, which is my favorite way. It's really cost-effective way. We could do food sensitivity testing if a client is, I like to see everything in black and white. I also love metabolic typing, which really helps people learn how to eat according to their metabolism. And it goes back to ancestry, like looking at, what would our DNA say about us, based on where we grew up. I mean, if you think about the Spanish, they're going to probably be eating more carb-friendly foods, those types of foods, just because of where they grew up, what was available to them. Where the Eskimos, they're going to be eating more protein-rich diets. So, and most of us are probably somewhere in the middle. We just have to find the right balance. So I do give assessments based on metabolic typing. So, and you guys can look that up. If you just Google metabolic typing diet, it's actually a book. And you can look through there and even take their quiz online. And then I also work specifically on digestion. So teaching people how to digest their food. Like we're taught that we can go to McDonald's, grab a hamburger, swallow it whole and move on with our day. And that's okay. Right. And the problem with that is that we never break down the food. Our digestion begins in the mouth. So we have to chew our food fully, right? Mix it with saliva. That's what creates the digestive enzymes to help us actually digest. And then we have our stomach acid in our gut. And if it's low, we actually get indigestion. Now we're taught that high stomach acid, we think of it as high because we get this reflux and we think, oh no, I have a lot of acid in my stomach. Well, the problem is your stomach is trying to produce a lot of acid on demand to digest the food that you just put in because you have chronically low stomach acid. So we really work to balance that stomach acid. And then I work on infection. So a lot of people may have digestive symptoms, or maybe someone comes to me with a skin issue. Okay. And it doesn't even seem to be digestion related. But we do an investigation, and that's an assessment. We do lab testing and really look what is going on in the gut. Which area of the gut is showing infection? Is it the upper GI? Is it more the lower GI? And what type of pathogen is present? So sometimes it's fungus, sometimes parasites, sometimes bacteria. So we're really looking at that. And I feel like where we make a big mistake sometimes is we go in with these harsh antibiotics and we just assault the gut. Like we're going to go in with a rifle and we're just going to blow it all out. Right.
You said and that I literally did the same thing. It's just like people don't know that the antibiotics are just, they're not always good. And, the effect is that the antibiotics are getting rid of obviously what it is that you're taking it for to get rid of, but you don't know what else is also destroying, And so I think that that's the conversation that we need to start having more too, is really educating the public on medication and the side effects. I understand that we're taking it to get rid of this or make something better over here, but what is like the lag of it? What's the residue of taking that medication? So I'm glad that you mentioned that.
Yeah. I think when we really give the body an opportunity to show us what it's made of, to show us what it will do, then it's going to do it. It really will perform. The body is an amazing piece of machinery. And that's really how I like to look at it. Understanding how it operates, like there is a hierarchy in the body. And even when it comes to digestion, when it comes to mental health, all those things, like there's a reason that we get symptoms. And I like to say the body will begin to give you whispers. And if you don't listen to the whispers, it's going to start screaming. And screaming may be a diagnosis. It might be autoimmunity. It might be cancer.
Right.
It might be diabetes. So we have to think, what is happening and how do we bring balance back into the body? So with my gut healing protocol, I'm working on a lot of those things: infection, rebalancing the pH, really reseeding with probiotics, a lot of the typical things that you would hear with a standard gut healing protocol. But it really comes down to the nature that you use those herbs in, the order, and your method, because you can teach the body how to get rid of pathogens on its own without going in there and completely wiping it out.
Wow.
So our job is really to train the body. That way, if someone comes to us and we train the body, a year later, they're really working well. And unless they come down with some illness or something like that, then they're really good to go. And they can continue using things like apple cider vinegar to keep, on their salads or as a part of their regular meals, or using ginger or bitter foods. We teach them how to have those as a part of their regular diet so the pH stays balanced. Good. And we teach them how to eat fermented foods and add sauerkraut to your salads, or have yogurt in the mornings, or, as a snack, and add those fermented foods, and maybe add a probiotic in now and then. But we teach the gut how to build its own bacteria. We eat fiber-rich foods so that the bacteria actually have something to eat, right? Yep. When we eat vegetables and fruits, the bacteria love those foods. They're going to stay in there and thrive. Where then we've created an environment in our gut that the other pathogens, the parasites, we may ingest them. And unfortunately, I know that sounds gross, but we do. And it's not just on sushi. But if we do ingest things like that, then the body can take care of itself. And those things are going to pass through effortlessly, and they're not going to we're no longer a host for them, so that they can set up shop and, just hang out and create a home inside of our bodies.
Right. Creating inflammation and everything else. I love that you mentioned creating a healthy environment. And I also love that you mentioned fiber. I work with my clients a lot with putting fiber in their diet, because I look at it as just stabilizing the blood sugar. And so I work with a lot of diabetes clients. And so that's definitely one of the things that I like to encourage them to do, and look at the menu and let's see what we can kind of, swap out simple, carbs, and just put in some complex grains, quinoa, and just more brown rice instead of white rice. I personally didn't eat a lot of brown rice growing up. And so, making that swap was like an adjustment for me. I didn't know anything about quinoa either until I was an adult. And so that is an adjustment. And I still meet a lot of people who don't know anything about quinoa and are so afraid, to try new things and how to cook it. So I love that you mentioned those great things. This wasn't a question that I was going to ask you, but since we've been talking and I've been listening to it, can you just give us a tidbit or let us know about the gut-brain connection? You said something a little while ago that made me think of that. And I was like, I wonder if I can ask her to give us that, because I know that we hear it a lot, but maybe not everybody understands. So can you give us your perspective on the gut-brain connection?
Yeah. So good question. I love this. The gut is, some people call it the first brain. And the bacteria in the gut, we have to think about all of our neurotransmitters and things like that. Like serotonin, we think of it as as made in the brain, but it's not made in the brain. It's made in the gut. 80% of our serotonin is made in the gut. So if we have a compromised gut, and this is just one area, like we could probably go on and on, but I'll just share this one example. If we have a compromised gut and we are not making the right kind of bacteria that are producing these good, feel-good hormones, then we're automatically going to be lower in serotonin, right? Which we need that for good brain function. We need that to feel good. We need it for happiness. We need it so that we're not feeling depressed. We need it so that we're not feeling anxious. We need it so we can control our stress a little bit better. So if we think about the connection, we have our spine kind of goes all the way through our vagus nerve. It runs all the way from our gut to our brain. And that's kind of how information travels.
Mm-hmm.
So just thinking about that one connection, one of the things that I'll do closer toward the end of my protocols is I'll work and use herbs to kind of seal that gut brain connection. I love using different mushrooms. Lion's mane is a really good one,
Okay.
just to kind of really help with that cognitive health. And it's really about balancing that bacteria. So sometimes I'll use certain probiotics, especially I have a few women they're pregnant now and they can't take a lot of supplements, and then they'll go through these stressful moments. Just using certain probiotics can be helpful as well, because you're really like when you're pregnant, you think about that, you're changing the environment of the gut. Everything's changing in the body. So if you feed the gut really good, healthy bacteria, and we know that certain bacteria are known to produce constipation, certain bacteria are known to produce good mental health. So when we use those as a strategy, then we can really put things in the gut that'll make the brain feel a little bit better. So I'm telling you, when it comes to anxiety and depression and just people feeling really irritable and things like that, I will pull out magical probiotics and not have to use anything crazy that impacts the brain or impacts those chemicals. And people are like, this is like a miracle. But it really is. It has so much to do with that gut brain connection. And it's really honestly more about feeding the healthy, good bacteria in the gut than it is anything else. A lot of times,
Oh yeah, I love that answer. It was such you spoke and laid it out so well, that visually, if there are people listening, visual learners like I am, I could just see you laying everything out. And if anyone has ever done research on this, everything that she's saying is true. It is really important when you think about building good gut health is to build it with good bacteria. You want to feed your good bacteria, and then that starts to build a foundation of just, a happy gut, happy life, y'all. How about that? And I love that you start to mention some of the supplements and just putting different, healing herbs together for some of your clients. Can you talk to us a little bit about the supplements that you offer or educate your clients on?
Yeah, so everything is really unique to what we're doing and the protocols that we're working through. So I love to use like detox formulas to kind of start out. I think we don't love on our liver enough. One of the things that I love to use is just like, you can get it over the counter, like dandelion for bloating, for example. Dandelion tea is a really good one. It's a good liver cleansing. So if you're just starting with something like, you want to go to the grocery store, I love traditional medicinals. Roasted dandelion tea is my absolute favorite. Pair that with a cleansing period of foods like lemons, beets, grapefruit, dandelion greens, and I'll just kind of run like 2 to 3 weeks using those foods daily. It's a really great liver cleanse. And you can take other different like milk thistles and things like that for the liver, just using like a combination. Another detox supplement would be something like NAC, which helps increase your glutathione in the body. It's your body's master antioxidant, so it naturally boosts that. So while you're doing that, that's a great thing to have on hand as well. And then it really just comes down to decreasing inflammation in the body is what I typically focus on next, and cleaning up old proteins. I may use different proteolytic enzymes. I may use different digestive enzymes that they have the ability to kind of go into the intestines and kind of clean up some of those like old proteins and things like that. And then I'll use L-glutamine to really kind of start strengthening that intestinal lining. We all have a little bit of leaky gut. It comes from toxins, the wrong foods, stress, medications, a lot of different things in our environment, pesticides, herbicides on our foods. Those types of things are causing the gut to become leaky. And really all that means is that it's becoming really thin instead of being really tightly held together. So a lot of those foods are seeping into circulation where they don't belong. So now you eat a food and it causes bloating, or it causes, some other symptom. It causes a rash. It causes you to break up. It causes you to have sniffles. Those are all known as food intolerances, either food intolerances or food sensitivities. And that's because those foods are getting into circulation. So we really want to strengthen that gut lining. So I'll use something like L-glutamine in a combination of other herbs. And then I'll work on pathogens, really, depending on, is it parasites? Is it bacteria? Is it fungus? So we really work and create a protocol. And these pathogens have a hierarchy. So if we see that there's parasites, there's bacteria, and there's fungus, then we have to really work on that hierarchy. You can't work on fungus until you start working on those parasites, because the parasites are going to create an environment that those fungus like to live in. So It's about, really systematically working on that. And then I'll come back in and work, as we talked a little bit, on that gut-brain connection. Make sure that you're pooping regularly, you're digesting your food appropriately, you have cleared up your mental health, your cognitive abilities. A lot of times you may have brain fog, or you just can't think clearly. You feel like your memory's going. That's another sign that there's an imbalance in that gut-brain connection. It's not always the depression and anxiety and mental health type things that come as a side effect of that. And then I'll really work on probiotics and really balancing that pH. So some of the probiotics I use are just like a really wide range of probiotics. If there's been bacterial imbalance, I'll use the spore-based probiotics, as long as someone doesn't have constipation. That can be a side effect of those spore-based probiotics. So just be careful with that. And then like the lion's mane, the mushrooms, really getting those adaptogens in to kind of seal the deal at the end.
I love it. Oh my goodness. You are like a wealth of knowledge when it comes to gut health. I'm just sitting here just gazing at you, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is so amazing.
My heart is so passionate about it. I love it so much. It's just, yeah, I see the transformations, Brittany. I see people put autoimmunity in remission.
Right.
People are coming off of medications. And it's not something you can promise anybody. I can't promise that people are going to get off medications. That would be crazy of me to do that.
Right.
But it's just like the gut is so impactful when it comes to the entire body. And sometimes I'm amazed. I'm like, this is a miracle from God. Like I think that's why I'm so passionate about it, is because I see people's lives completely transformed. I watched patients with infertility get pregnant, all by working on the gut health. It is absolutely, I am honored truly to work with every person that I come into contact with, because I'm able to see their transformation. And I never imagined I would ever get to be in this place.
It's beautiful that you found something that you're so passionate about, that you're interested in, that you kind of personally went through, yourself. And so I think that that's even more of a driver to just, for you to just keep going and keep helping people. And then even on your own, just researching and just reading as much as you can. So, you could continue to be there for your clients. But it is just amazing to sit here and listen to you so passionately talk about what it is that you love, the results that you're seeing, which is amazing, and just help individuals develop or establish a healthy gut. And so I'm wrapping up, and we're getting down to the last question. Can you tell us or share with us some resources that you might offer to your clients? Maybe something to read, or maybe like a website that you probably always watching or something like that? Or are there any resources that you can just give us for ourselves?
Yes. So I love, if you will type into your browser, chelsieward.com/metabolic-guide. And maybe we can put that link in the show notes. I'm not sure if you can, Brittany, but I have created a guide for people. And as I was talking about earlier on just eating right for your metabolism, that is a basic foundational principle that I teach all of my clients. And I created a guide. So even if you never work with me, you can have access to that and that type of work. So that's one thing. And I published another shameless plug. I published a book, Healed His Way. You can purchase that on Amazon or go to my website at chelsieward.com. I love following other amazing people in the industry. I follow the Whole Journey. I'm trained under the Whole Journey.
Okay.
Krista Orecchio, I do a lot of her work. I love Jack Tips. He's the wellness whiz. I follow him. He always talks about the gut microbiome, which, this is kind of where we are today, just learning about or talking more about how we can dive deeper into that gut health. He is like a whiz when it comes to viruses, bacteria, parasites, all the different things, how to heal the gut naturally. And I love just just get on Instagram and type in anything health related that you really want to look at, and just look up natural hormone health or natural gut health, different things like that, and just follow those hashtags. You're going to see amazing people in this industry that are just out there sharing free content, free information. I know when I was first studying this, that's exactly what I did. I just started looking at people's blogs, and I'm like, I really like that person. I want to learn a little bit more from them. So anytime you see someone deliver a message like this and you're like, hey, I kind of like them, just, follow them on social media. Fill your entire social media with things like this instead of crazy stuff that we hear, news and all that stuff. That's what I do. And it's a lot of the way that I learn is just from other people sharing and, let me try that for myself personally, or, there's a book someone shared, let me download that book and see what I can learn from it. So there's so much to learn as far as health goes, and gut health, and just nutrition in general. And don't be afraid to try something for yourself, because we are all unique. I like to say our gut is unique as our fingerprints.
Yeah.
And, and you probably feel the same. You've probably said the same.
Yep.
And, you have to get your perfect diet dialed in. Have to get everything is unique to you. And yes, you can hire someone like Brittany or myself, like as a guide to kind of guide you through and teach you. But the key really is, and that's why I created my program, Go With Your Gut. Yes, I love gut health, but go with your gut also means go with your intuition. And it's really learning to tune into your body and what you need. Yep. So when you resonate with something and someone's teaching, don't dismiss that. Tune into it, because it could give you the next answer that you need long-term.
Yes, I love that answer. And I really love that throughout our conversation, you just kept reiterating to our listeners that trust yourself, trust your intuition. This is a really good time for you and your body to build a relationship, to kind of reintroduce yourself to yourself, a little bit, that if you're trying something new, did that give me energy? Did that upset my stomach? Or was I fine? Did I have some type of sensitivity to it? This is really the time to start to really get to know yourself nutritionally, and so I think, always reiterating to the client or the patient to just tune into themselves is a really, really great advice. And then it helps us do our job better. It helps us guide you better, because then if we give you a type of recommendation or, something, and then you come back with that feedback, okay, well, that didn't work, or they didn't like this. Well, let's change it up. Tell me how you felt about it. Are you interested in doing this? And so it just helps keep the line of communication over, because again, this is individualized. You are the center of attention when it comes to this, because it's all about you. So I truly, truly love everything that you said today. I am so happy that you were able to come out and visit with us. To everybody, this will be loaded on YouTube. The channel is called Wellness Talk by Brittany Branch with Figs and Radishes. And I want to give Chelsie a moment so that she can share her information for you all to follow her, okay, and reach out. As you can see, she is extremely knowledgeable, super passionate about what it is that she do, and we love her to pieces. Please share your information with everyone at this moment.
Thank you, Brittany. So everything is Chelsie Ward Wellness. Very simple. ChelseieWard.com, and that's ChelseieWard.com. I'm Chelsie Ward Wellness on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Those are kind of my main places. I'm playing around on TikTok. But, you know, I'm like trying to figure out all this social media stuff. So my book is Healed His Way on Amazon. If you find that interesting, you can kind of look up and see if that's a good fit for you as well. And feel free to reach out and connect to me just on my website. If you want to shoot me a quick email there, you can do that as well.
Awesome. And I will post her information below the video once I have it uploaded. And then you guys can just click on those links. And again, just shoot her a message. Again, I can't say enough. Thank you for being here. And we are going to be signing off. This is the Wellness Talk. And thank you all for coming to watch.
Thank you.